Hi everybody, welcome to our weekly training video. This week I'm going to be talking about introducing nail clippers. We have some blog material already on teaching your dog to get into a position like lying on their side for nail care, and how to teach your dog to tolerate having their nails filed with a big emery board. But I've had some questions about nail clippers in particular, and I've also seen people really struggle with introducing nail clippers, so I thought I'd talk about that a little bit today. Alright, so introducing nail clippers before using them on your dog. So one point I really want to make today is that introducing nail clippers usually, for most dogs, should not involve actually touching them with a nail clipper or clipping a nail. That's way too advanced for most dogs to start out with. So who is this for? This is for you if you've tried to introduce nail clippers and it did not go well, or if you're ready to introduce clippers for the first time. Ideally, you have taught your dog to get into some kind of position and hold that position for nail care. I like the dog lying on their side, but there are other options as well. And a lot of what I'll show you today sort of relies on you having some position that your dog can get into and hold for nail care. Okay, so the big picture of nail care training isn't just, clip a nail and give your dog a treat. And I mean, if that worked for your dog, you're probably not watching this video. Normally, I like to start with teaching the dog some kind of position, like I mentioned, like lying on your side, that will make nail care easy for me to do. I need to then teach the dog that handling their paws is great. Then I'll introduce whatever it is I'm going to use to do the nail care, whether it's a file or clippers, and then finally you can start actually training your dog to stay in position while you actually do the nail care. And do not forget that if all this sounds like too much for you, for some dogs using a scratch board, so that's basically a giant emery board that they can scratch on their own to wear down their front nails and back nails, it's a little harder to train. For some dogs that's enough. So this is what we're doing today then, just this, I want to just talk about introducing the clippers. So what does it mean to introduce the clippers? I recommend easing into it a piece at a time, and those pieces, some pieces at least, of introducing nail clippers could be just the sight of the clippers, the sound of the clippers, and then moving the clippers toward the dog. And all of these things obviously can be done without touching the dog. Okay, so sight. How do you introduce your dog to the sight of the clippers? There are probably a lot of ways you can do this. The short sort of version is show your dog the clippers and give them a treat. I like to be a little more precise about this and ask my dog to get into the nail care position. So in Pancake's case, who will be starring in the videos today, lie on your side and then just hold up the clippers, not too close to them and not moving the clippers toward the dog, and then give them a treat for staying in their lying down position. If the dog cannot stay in position, either you need to go back and work on their ability to stay in that position in general. Maybe it just has been undertrained, or maybe the sight of the clippers at whatever distance you started with is too much and you need to try something easier. Maybe the clippers farther away, lower, that kind of thing. And I'll show videos of examples of all of these in a second. So once your dog can hold their nail care position, just when you just show them the clipper, you can work on the sound of the clippers. Excuse me. And this is a tough one for a lot of dogs. The sound of actually cutting through a nail is kind of a sharp, sudden sound, and for some dogs that's really startling. But luckily, this is something you can work on without actually touching their feet or clipping the nail yet. So again, I like to do this in nail care position, because if the dog can't hold that position while they're hearing a particular sound, that tells me that sounds too startling for them and I need to do some training around it. So you can start by clipping nothing, just moving the clippers. If your clippers are in good condition, they shouldn't make much noise when you're moving them, like opening and closing them. But you can still start there. And then you can clip something that makes a sound similar to a nail, or maybe something softer, and then work your way up to it. And you're going to do this with the clippers some distance from the dog. Don't do it like right near their ear or something. So the examples I'll show you today, I did a carrot stick, which produced some more sound than nothing, but a pretty quiet sound. And then a toothpick, which produced a sound that, at least to me, sounded much more like an actual nail being clipped. And then movement is another sort of piece of clipper introduction you can work on separately from the sight and the sound. Well, obviously, the sight is going to be included here, but you'll start with sight, seeing the clippers without movement, and then you can add movement toward the dog. You may want to start with just the tiniest movement toward your dog, so they get into their nail care position, like lying on their side. You show them the clippers, you move it toward them, maybe even just an inch, and then reward them for staying in that position. If their nail care position is well trained, like normally they can hold that position no problem while you're moving your hands around and things, then it can be a good indication, if they can't hold their position when you move the clippers toward them, that the problem is that the clippers moving toward them is concerning. So make it easier if your dog cannot hold their nail care position when you move the clippers toward them. Okay, so let's take a look at some video. So here's seeing the clippers. I'm just holding them out. Your Pancake's lying on his side. Show the clipper, give a treat. Hear the clipper, so here I'm clipping nothing, and he gets a treat. Clipping, that's a carrot stick. And then here's a toothpick, which makes definitely a louder noise. And here I was doing it at a distance, but you could over time move it closer. And then watching the clippers move toward the dog. So I'm not like trying to touch his paw yet, and you might need to start with a much smaller movement than what I just did there. Okay, so again, the big picture here in summary is that there's plenty of work to be done when it comes to introducing nail clippers to your dog that happens before you ever actually touch your dog with the clippers. You can break up the introduction of the nail clippers into the sight of them, the sound of something being clipped, and movement toward them. And there are probably other ways you could break it down as well. This is just, these are some major ways that I have done it. And if your dog can't stay in whatever nail care position you've taught, when you add in the sight, sound, or movement of the clippers, make it easier. Ask for less. Move the clippers less. Keep them farther away, clip something that makes less noise, etc. Okay, I hope this helps. If you have any questions about how to break down the introduction of clippers to your dog, feel free to shoot us a message. You can comment below wherever you're watching this video. In the meantime, if you would like to stay in the loop, get updates when we have new free content or new classes or discounts, go to the link at the bottom of this slide, dogkindtraining.com/newsletter, and you can sign up to get our weekly newsletter and updates. All right, everyone, thank you so much. I hope this helps. I'll see you next week.